Hello, my dear listeners. Today I am here to welcome you in my channel Shamoita Rupkathara along with a new story, a new Bengali folktale. The name of this story is the story of the Rakshasas. What is Rakshasa? Rakshas, that means demons. So, this story is also taken from Folktales of Bengal, written by Reverend Lal Bihari Dey, and this is a very old book. The first edition of this book was published in the year 1883, and this particular book was published in the year 1912. So, let's start the story. There was a poor half-witted Brahman who had a wife but no children. It was only with difficulty he could supply the wants of himself and his wife, and the worst of it was that he was rather lazily inclined. He was averse to taking long journeys, otherwise, he might always have had enough in the shape of presents from rich men to enable him and his wife to live comfortably. There was at that time a king in a neighboring country who was celebrating the funeral obsequies of his mother with great pomp. Brahmans and beggars were going from different parts with the expectation of receiving rich presents. Our Brahman was requested by his wife to seize this opportunity and get a little money, but his constitutional indolence stood in the way. The woman, however, gave her husband no rest till she extorted from him the promise that he would go. The good woman accordingly cut down a plantain tree and burnt it to ashes, with which ashes she cleaned the clothes of her husband and made them as white as any fuller could make them. She did this because her husband was going to the palace of a great king who could not be approached by men clothed in a dirty rags. Clothed in dirty rags. Besides, as a Brahman, he was bound to appear neat and clean. The Brahman at last one morning left his house for the palace of the great king. As he was somewhat imbecile, he did not inquire of anyone which road he should take, but he went on and proceeded whithersoever his two eyes directed him. He was, of course, not on the right road. Indeed, he had reached a region where he did not meet with a single human being for many miles, and where he saw sights which he had never seen in his life. He saw hillocks of Koris, shell used as money in earlier days in the Bengal. On the roadside, he had not proceeded far from them when he saw hillocks of Pisces, then successively hillocks of 4 anna Pisces, hillocks of 8 anna Pisces, and hillocks of rupees. That means they are the different hillocks of money with different denominations. So let's go back to the story. To the infinite surprise of the poor Brahman, these hillocks of shining silver coins were succeeded by a large hill of burnished gold. To the surprise of the poor Brahman, these hillocks of shining silver coins were succeeded by a large hillock of burnished gold mohurs, which were all as bright as if they had been just issued from the mint. That means this hill was of gold coins. Gold coin hill. We may name this hill. Close to this hill of gold mohurs was a large house which seemed to be the palace of a powerful and rich king, at the door of which stood a lady of exquisite beauty. The lady, seeing the Brahman, said, "Come, my beloved husband, you married me when I was young, and you never came once after our marriage, though I have been daily expecting you. Blessed be this day which has made me see the face of my husband. Come, my sweet, come in, wash your feet, and rest after the fatigues of your journey. Eat and drink." See, this is the woman who was addressing the Brahman in front of her palace door. So what I and after that we shall make ourselves merry. The Brahman was astonished beyond measure. He had no recollection of having been married in early youth to any other woman and than the woman who was now keeping house with him. But being a Kulin Brahman, he thought it was quite possible that his father had got him married when he was a little child, though the fact had made no impression on his mind. But whether he remembered it or not, the fact was certain, for the woman declared that she was his wedded wife, and such a wife, as beautiful as the goddess of Indra's heaven, and no doubt as wealthy as she was beautiful. While these thoughts were passing through the Brahman's mind, the lady said again, "Are you doubting in your mind whether I am your wife? Is it possible that all recollection of that happy event has been effaced from your mind? All the pomp and circumstance of our nuptials? Come in, beloved. This is your own house, for whatever is mine is thine." The Brahman succumbed to the loving eternities of the fair lady and went into the house. The house was not an ordinary one, it was a magnificent palace, all the apartments being large and lofty and richly furnished. But one thing surprised the Brahman very much, and that was that there was no other person in the house beside the lady herself. He could not account for so singular a phenomenon. Neither could he explain how it was that he did not meet with any human being in his morning and evening walks. The fact was that the lady was not a human being. She was a Rakshasi, the female form of Rakshasa. She had eaten up the king, the queen, and all the members of the royal family, and gradually all his subjects. This was the reason why human beings were not seen in those parts. So, my dear listeners, today we are ending this story right here. We will again start to read this story tomorrow, and we will see what happened next. So, till then, I must ask for your permission to leave, but before that I must say today is a very special day for each and everyone. Today is 21st February, which is being celebrated as World Mother Language Day or Mother Tongue Day, whichever word you prefer. In this day we celebrate the first teaching of our mothers, which has enabled us to express our sorrow, our joy, our every emotion throughout our life. And behind this day there is a history. There were people who fought for their language, and I am very proud to be one of the human being or fellow human being who who has the same mother tongue, for which they have fought that battle, and they had sacrificed their life, the Bangla. That language was is Bangla, and my tongue is also Bengali, so or Bangla. And in this sense, that bloody fight was fought for this language, and in a result, a new nation was born, and the name of that nation is Bangladesh. So I'm very proud to be a Bengali by as per the mother tongue of mine, and I'm really grateful to my mother that she gave me this sweet language. And in this notion, I must say, please say thank you to your mothers, to your individual mother, and that they have taught us, because they have taught us to express ourselves in sorrow, in our joy, in making a friend, in fighting for our rights, in every notion. And for that, our mothers and our mother language or mother tongue is very crucial. So in this notion, I am taking permission from you to leave, but we will meet again tomorrow with the next part of this story. Until then, ta-da!